So this is a Tejas 2017 Malbec. This is a 1998 Volvo V70 cross country. The reason why this is here is because the fuel pump went out, and it's almost identical to the V70R that I have sitting out there in the driveway. Now, on a front-wheel drive P80 chassis car, there's an access plate where you can get to the fuel pump assembly or the sending unit assembly through the plate and the floor. All-wheel drive cars did not get that. And what most people do is cut a hole in the floor on the passenger side underneath the seat cushion on the front side of the panel. And that's what's actually been done to my 1998 V70R that's sitting out in the driveway when I replaced that fuel pump. The only reason why I replaced the fuel pump in that car is because I was running out of fuel on high boost situations. I needed a bigger one, so I put in a 340 liter per hour fuel pump. This one just plain broke. The fuel gauge in it actually hasn't worked in a while, so what we're going to do, because there's very few write-ups and videos on this, is we're going to put this car up in the air and we're going to drop the subframe assembly, we're going to drop the fuel tank, and then we're going to change the sending unit and the fuel filter. A little backstory on the car. For the most part, it's stock. It's got I rebuilt the turbo, but in doing so, I swapped out and machined the center housing and compressor, so it's got a 20T compressor where originally it was a 13G. It also has a modified tune on it, thanks to the M4.4 wiki page, which I'll post in the links below. And it's basically like a modified T5 tune. So this car just has a little bit more get up and go than your standard low pressure turbo car. Set of 404cc called Bosch Green Giant injectors is what they're known as. And other than that, it's just for the most part a old, reliable, but fairly well taken care of car. So enjoy. So, as I sit here with my diesel cigar and my home oak bourbon and reflect, it wasn't exactly the worst car repair experience I've ever had. I realize it's not the most pleasant, but it's not so overwhelming that I think that people need to jump ship right to cutting holes in the floor of their car. Not that anything's wrong with that. You do what you want to do with your own car. I would just like to show people that maybe it's not so daunting. Again, in hindsight, I believe that if I would have been a little quicker with the torch and warmed up those areas where the bolts for the subframe bolt up to the underbody of the car, I think maybe there was a chance that they wouldn't have broke like they did. Then again, everything still came apart just fine. Then those were the only handful of bolts that gave me issues. As long as you take it nice and easy and slow, 2 of them did come out on their own, so I was able to salvage them in a manner where I could get replacements fairly easily. My other wagon, so I have a 98R, all-wheel drive, P80 chassis, just like this 98 XC, all-wheel drive, P80 chassis, already had the hole cut in the floor. So when I went to go actually upgrade the fuel pump on that car, it already had with the DW 340 liter per hour fuel pump, I was actually in the process of dropping the subframe out when I saw the screws poking out under the floor, and decided to investigate, lifted up the seat, and there was a patch plate. So if you do have an issue with your car, by all means, lift up the seat, pull away the carpet, and check and see if someone made your job easier for you. But if not, and you don't want to go cutting holes in the floor of your car, and you don't want to run a risk of cutting into one of your fuel lines, you do not have to be afraid to drop the subframe. And if you're working on something or trying something on it and it doesn't work, just try having a cigar and a glass of scotch. If that doesn't work, have another. Anyway, like, subscribe, stay tuned. There's more adventures to come.